Hello again. I am back inside where it's not quite as windy. So I have some updates to my office. I have my marathon posters from the 2 Chicago marathons that I did. Mika and I went to Hobby Lobby yesterday. So those are now framed. I'm feeling pretty good about those. I also framed, this is a scratch off map from my sister-in-law that we can scratch off the different places that we've been. So I put that in a frame. So every time I go somewhere, I'll have to take it out of the frame. But that's okay. We're not going a lot of places this year. So, all right. So I would like to talk about the Disney Dream. My little tiny version of the Disney Dream. So, the Disney Dream and the Disney Fantasy, those are sister ships. They are the same, mostly the same layout. There are 5 Disney Cruise Line ships currently. The Magic is the oldest, and then the Wonder, the Dream and Fantasy, and then the Wish. So, I have been on 4 of the 5 of them. I have not been on the Magic yet. I'm hoping soon. It actually is going to be coming over to San Diego. I think next year. Don't quote me on that. So Disney Cruise Line has several ports. They do European cruises. They do Alaska cruises. They do the Caribbean. They do out of San Diego down to Mexico, like Cabo. So there are a lot of different itineraries. So last January, my husband and I, we went to Epcot for his 40th. And then we went with our friends, Michelle and James, on a 3-night cruise. It was out of Port Canaveral. So that's like an hour-ish, give or take, from Orlando. We went to Nassau and then the Disney Island Castaway Cay and then back to Port Canaveral. So 3 days on a cruise. It was my first cruise ever. I had never been on a cruise before. It was perfect for somebody who is not sure if they love cruises. It is not enough time to see everything on a Disney cruise ship. So you're thinking, okay, some adults went on a Disney cruise ship. Well, we are adults that love Disney, first of all. But when you think Disney Cruise Line, there are a lot of places for adults. They have the Senses Spa, so at the time that we went, COVID was still looming a little bit. So we still had to do a COVID test before we went to get on the ship. That was like the most anxiety producing thing in the world because we did it at the port and I didn't want to have to do the walk of shame that I tested positive for COVID. So once we made it through that, we were good. But they were doing passes to Senses Spa where it's like you rented out the whole thing for, I think it was 2 hours. Senses Spa is fantastic. They have these heated stone loungers that are amazing. And then the rainforest room, they have all these different showers there's heat, there's cold, there's saunas. And then there's also hot tubs in the Senses Spa on the Dream and the Fantasy. So I loved the spa. It was an upcharge, but it was worth it for us. The Dream also has an adult-only area called the District. So they have a few different lounges and bars in there. So there's the Skyline Bar where they change, it's like behind the bar, there's different scenes and from different skylines. And as you move through the different skylines, they feature different drinks from wherever the city is that's being displayed. It's very cool. They have Pink, which is the champagne bar, and then they have the 687 pub, and then they have Evolution, which was like the dance club area. Not really my thing, but I think they might have had bingo in Evolution once too. So lots of places for adults. Obviously, they cater to the kids. So there's the Oceaneers Club, and then Oceaneers Labs. So that's for ages 3 to, I think it's 11. It might be 12. I think it's 12. And then there's Edge and Vibe. Those are for the older teens. And then there's the It's a Small World nursery. Now, when I went on the Dream, the Small World nursery was closed. It has since opened back up. Vibe and the Edge, those places are super cool for teens. I would be hanging out there the whole time if I could. We were only able to go in during open houses, obviously for safety and security of the kids. But I mean, the Oceaneer Club, they had like a Millennium Falcon. They had a whole Toy Story area. They had a Pixie Hollow. They had so many cool things. And the counselors that are in there, the staff, they were just amazing. You could tell that they were just so willing to work with the kids and interact with the kids. They had energy. I don't know if it was that they were younger and just full of life or if they had had that much caffeine. But regardless, they were like ready to be in that Oceaneer Club and just have the best time. So we enjoyed going in there. Also, they had automatic hand washers that I want some of those in my house. You stick your hands in and the water swirls around your hands, the soap goes in, and then it rinses your hands off. It's the coolest thing. So that's obviously to promote safety on the cruises, but everybody going in, even if you're not going to touch anything, has to use these hand washers. And I went by once just to use the hand washers because I really liked them. So then the Dream also has, they have several pools. Now, pools on a cruise ship, way, way smaller than pools at a hotel. They also have the Aqueduct, which is a water slide that goes over the side of the ship. You sit in an inner tube. I have this thing where I don't do water slides unless you're sitting in a tube. Or if you can like, I don't like the tube slides where you're just going with just the water. I don't know if it's a fear of getting stuck. I remember being scarred once. Like I did one of those like drop down slides. So I only do tube slides if I sit in an inner tube. I loved the Aqueduct. Now, my husband's calling me. I'll call him back. I did, when we went on the Aqueduct, so it was January. It was not terribly warm. It was warm compared to Chicago, but it wasn't overly warm. That water was really, really cold in the Aqueduct. But it was so much fun. Had a blast. So those were some of the highlights of things around the ship on the Disney Dream. Now, in terms of the food, I liked the food. So they have Cabanas, which is your cruise line buffet. I liked it. I thought it was good. I was able to have my Mickey waffles every morning. Room service, you can get a Mickey bar every night if you want. Room service is included. There are some upcharge items, but then, obviously you tip room service. It was worth it for the Mickey bars being delivered to my room. Also, my husband loved the chocolate chip cookies. They brought them up warm. He was all about those. Then there are 3 restaurants. The favorite one was Animator's Palette. Although I'll tell you tomorrow when I talk about the Disney Fantasy why I liked Animator's Palette more on the Fantasy. And then Enchanted Garden, and then the other restaurant was the Royal Palace. So they had different menus at each one of the places. However, we were able to order food off of the different menus. So I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm a crazy picky eater. So there was, I think it was Enchanted Garden. It was very seafood heavy. So Joe's allergic to seafood. I'm not crazy about seafood. So we actually ordered, I think it was something that we had gotten the night before at Animator's Palette. But these Disney servers, they go above and beyond and are just absolutely amazing. They were joking with me, asking me if I wanted just the kids menu because they figured me out on day one, how picky I was. But they'll bring you as much food as you want. Then you'll feel the need to go up and down the stairs to work off the food. But you know, it's one of those things. I never felt like, even though I was a picky eater, like I was a problem because they were so accommodating. I did also try a few things that I usually wouldn't have because when you're at home, you feel bad. Like, I don't want to go try something in case I don't like it because then I've wasted my money. Well, they assured me that if I didn't like something, that I didn't have to eat it and that they would just grind it up and give it to the fish. Now, whether or not, I feel like that's true that they do that with all of the leftover food. They might have just been telling me that, but I'm sticking with that. So I'm convinced that the food that I did not like went to the fish and they had a great meal. So it was a 3-day cruise. It wasn't long enough. I would like to go back on the Dream because it was such a short cruise for me. And it was also my first cruise ever. So I was super inundated with everything cruising. But I absolutely loved it. So if you want more information about the Disney Dream or Disney Cruise Line, hit me up. Spring break is a great time to go on a cruise because all of the other vacation destinations are crazy crowded. Also, cruise ships are a great place to meet the characters. If, like, let's say you have a smaller child that is all about the characters, but you guys aren't really about the rides, cruise ships, perfect. They have characters in the lobby. They actually have it on an app where you can meet, like, it tells you what time to meet them. They have their photographers. It's just amazing. So that's the Disney Dream. I know this is a longer video. Sorry about it. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.